Biggest thing that we had going for us is that we really knew how to cook. We knew how to make good food. That part was easy.
Seeing my parents always being in a business, I kind of like understood that it's probably my future too.
Everything for us, I always say this, everything went really fast.
Welcome to Catch the Moment podcast. I am your host, David Tyree.
It is caught by Tyree. That's a great catch by David Tyree. Oh my God. This ball's thrown and Tyree just goes up for it like a basketball player.
Welcome to Catch the Moment podcast. It's your host, David Tyree. This is where you come to get you through the process, the pain points, get you to your next moment. Today, here with new friends, AJ and Kristina from ESO Artisanal Pasta. And we're going to take you through the journey. I love this young group. How y'all doing?
Fantastic. Thank you for having us.
Oh, listen, man. Well, I got the juice, but y'all got the pasta.
That's right.
But, I always like to ask every guest, y'all know a little bit about my background, a little bit about the helmet catch, but we got to get your story. And I know it's going to be good because we got Kristina here, but where were you the first time you saw the helmet catch? Any thoughts, memories, whatever you got for me? Give it to me.
So, helmet catch, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. I grew up there about 7 years. I was in my living room. It was just me and my mother, and my mother's not big into football, so it was really just me enjoying the moment. But I think when the cats, when they jump up and they hit like the ceiling,
yeah,
I think I did one of those.
Yeah, you was locked in.
Yeah, definitely.
That's super dope.
Super Bowl, yeah.
Now I know obviously we're going to get into y'all journey together, business partners, husband and wife, but you had a different experience the first time. You probably just learned a little bit more about the helmet catch.
Yes, definitely. So the first time, I guess AJ showed me 2 years ago, because in my country we don't play football, we play soccer.
Yeah.
That's.
And where's your country?
Ukraine. So I'm from Ukraine.
Major love, prayers.
Thank you. So to me, American football is something new. Like till today, I'll be honest, I don't even know all rules. My first game was last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went Pittsburgh, and AJ, all the game AJ was like, okay, they doing this and this, and this is that, and I'm like, okay.
That's super dope.
The first time I saw the helmet catch was 2 years ago. AJ showed me on my phone. He explained to me.
And she's like, what?
Yeah,
just
and
happened?
I'm like, I'm not familiar, but that was definitely impressive.
That's fantastic. Well, I appreciate the love. It's just all just kind of fun, festive stories where everybody was. Typically, most people remember where they were. But man, AJ, your local royalty, got some New Jersey pedigree, Morristown. We both launched businesses in the middle of the pandemic.
That's right.
And so we definitely got to get into the journey, your guys' entrepreneurial journey. But talk about what, I didn't know you had early years in North Carolina. Talk about the shift into New Jersey. Obviously as a young kid, what was life like growing up in Morristown? And, ultimately kind of what led you down this path with food, and even more so homemade pasta, right? Because obviously Negroes ain't known for pasta, so pretty intriguing in general, but I know that adds to the layers of you guys' story.
Oh, definitely. So came up to Morristown in my 8th grade, so I was about 13 years old.
Okay.
I went through Morristown High School, graduated. I had no plans of becoming a chef. I had no interest in cooking, anything like that. Grew up playing sports, football, basketball, track.
Okay, what'd you run on the track? Let me see where you at. What was you doing on the track?
I was distance.
You was distance?
So,
okay, so you was
3,000. Yeah,
gotcha. All right, I got respect for y'all, because then I'll smoke you in the 4.
Sure, I wasn't a sprinter.
No, it's all good. Good.
Yes, sir. But I really had no interest in the whole restaurant thing until I got my first job in a restaurant, Jackie Hall Bar and Kitchen, which had opened up in Morristown about 2014, and started as a back waiter, and immediately I was enamored because it was a lot like being on a football team or a basketball team. You got this big place, lots of different employees, you got your offense, you got your defense, everybody's doing different tasks, and it really felt like one big family. Wow. So I really liked the intensity, I liked the rush, I liked the camaraderie, so I kind of felt like I was doing something familiar and just a different output, right?
Sure.
And that's kind of where the passion came from.
Wow, that's pretty tough. All right, so all right, give me an idea of, because you transition at like one of those nice intersection points. You moving into high school. Was life tough growing up? Parents, both, like, what gave you some of the pedigree, right? Because obviously you get into sports, that can shape a lot of your thought process. But what gave you some of the pedigree that most people will look at that kind of hard work and be like, nah, man, like, so, what was life like growing up that kind of gave you some of the internal fortitude to be able to embrace those environments?
Right. I definitely, so my parents were split up. So
Okay.
I grew up in a, parents were divorced. I grew up with my mom sort of the first half of my childhood, and then
Sure.
my dad the second half. So the one big thing in my family that's huge is that everybody went to work.
Nice.
There's no one I've never heard unemployment in my entire mother's side or father's side of the family. Everybody was going to work.
What you going to do?
And right. And so, and then we also have a lot of entrepreneurs. My aunt was an entrepreneur. My grandmother was an entrepreneur. My mother is an entrepreneur.
Nice.
So I think the aspect of just getting to it, hustling, that was already ingrained in our culture at home.
Beautiful.
So I didn't shy away from it when it came in, real world opportunities.
Sure. Man, that's fantastic. Because, and just newsflash, this young hot couple right here, they're seasoned. So you guys launched in the middle of the pandemic, 2020. Amazing story because, like I said, even me, I was just amazed by it. Beautiful, young, interracial couple. Not that's not uncommon. It's pretty awesome. I just found out that you were from the Ukraine, made it more awesome. How did you guys meet? Because, number one, so you're 26, 27?
27.
Golly, y'all out here in these entrepreneur streets, y'all getting it done in the 20s.
Trying our best, yeah.
Listen, y'all are getting it done because you're still going, right? You're still creating a lane. So, but yeah, timeline-wise, you're talking about 23 and 24. In the middle of the pandemic, what brought you guys together, and what was the stage that you guys say, you know what, we're gonna do something that's our own? So, how did you guys meet? Because I know that you have some similar trades and skill sets. Talk about it.
So I have to leave the us meeting story up to Kristina, otherwise she's gonna say I'm manufacturing something.
Oh, that's how my wife treats me. But I know the facts. No, I'm not. No, go for it, Kristina.
So I was working in New York in a restaurant called Legacy Records. It's under Delish's Hospitality Group. They own, I think, 6 very successful restaurants in New York. And AJ came probably for like a week. He was just hanging out there. Like, I have no idea who he is. Like, he didn't work the station. I was like some random guy. We would say hi to each other, and that's it.
Got it.
And then he just disappeared. And my chef told us that, remember that black guy working? We were like, yeah. He went to Italy. We were like, oh, cool, okay. So I want to say probably 6-8 months later, he's like, oh, do you remember that guy who went to Italy? I was like, yeah. Oh, he's coming back. We're like, okay.
Okay.
So he's coming back, and he actually started working the pasta station, which is like the hardest station in any restaurant.
The pasta station.
Yes.
Wow, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Because it actually requires cooking. You're not just heating up meat or like vegetables. You're actually cooking. You're making a sauce. You're cooking the pasta. You're tossing it. So it's actually like a process.
Ooh.
So I would
You can imagine what kind of attention that got me, right?
Yeah, you were shining.
Yeah. So he was very shy. I can't even say shy. He was very focused.
Okay.
He's that kind
like
of
that.
person, like, if he's in the kitchen, he's just cooking, that's it. Like you would never see him smiling, laughing, talking to someone, and
Standing on business. That's the new stuff, right?
And I'm completely the opposite. Like,
Okay.
I want to be friends with everybody. So I was like, oh, I feel so bad for him. Like, let me be a little bit friendly and be like, hey, do you need some help? I would invite him to sit with everybody at lunch. And I kind of started helping him. Then I kind of moved to the station, risotto station right next to him. So we were like basically working like this. Mm-hmm. And we start walking together to the train station. He would walk me because he lived in New Jersey. I lived in New York.
Got it.
Talk, and the conversations were always really nice. And one time we were talking, and it took us so long that he missed his last train to New Jersey.
Ooh.
Like
12:56, yeah.
12:56.
Ooh, you missed the train, buddy. Wonder what we gonna do.
And I already, like, we already say goodbyes and everything, so I'm already waiting for my train, which
Sure.
I lived in Brooklyn. I was waiting for our train. And he texted me on Instagram because he didn't even have my number.
Oh,
He's
wow.
like, I missed my train. And I was like, well, okay. And I'm like, what should I say? Like, I know the next train is like 5 a.m.
Oh, my goodness.
So, like, he doesn't have really anyone in New York, so like what he's gonna do. And I know the Uber was like $180 because I know he took those Ubers multiple times.
Oof.
And I just felt so bad. But the day before that, I literally moved to my new apartment. So my apartment is a mess, like completely mess, like
Yeah.
boxes everywhere, like it was just terrible. And I was like, hey, you can stay on the couch in my apartment, but you got to put the couch together because, like, it's, there's no other way.
Sure.
And he was like, okay. So we
About
meeting
that,
again.
Work, just another thing to do.
We meeting again, going to my apartment, going to Bodega, getting some snacks, getting some beer. And we ended up actually sitting on that couch and like talking till like 7 a.m.
Say word.
Yeah. And we needed to work next day together. So yeah.
So the vibes was just there.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was just good. Like you sometimes you talk to someone and you feel like you know the person.
Sure.
That was definitely the connection. Like,
Man. All right, you got to give me a small variation of what your story would tell it, because I already know there's usually two. Come on, did you macaroni Tony it down, man? Come on, man. Like, where'd the Mac game come from? Was it just the silence? Was it just the connection, or did you have some Jersey Mac in you?
I usually there's the little details that are left out that I'll bring to the light. So when I first started working in that kitchen, Kristina and I worked on opposite sides of the kitchen. Because she was on the crudo station and I was on the pasta station before she moved to the hotline. But somehow, anytime she needed anything in the kitchen, she found a way to pass right behind me,
see?
right in front of me.
Boy, they
right
never tell
somewhere.
these, just happen to just press on by like a little cat in the yard.
So you pick up on those things, right? And so that gives you a little bit of the green light. Right?
Yeah.
I knew it was okay to pursue.
Excellent. Boy, see, I gotta give, even though you got some good North Carolina foundation, that's the Jersey awareness. That's right there is the situational awareness that so many young people are lacking today.
You gotta look for those signs.
You gotta look for the signals. So I'm gonna give him some green light credit on that. You left that out right there. No, it's a dynamic story. Man, I almost felt like I was watching a movie when you was telling that story. It's like Brown Sugar or something, like Tay Diggs. Yeah, out here.
I just watched Brown Sugar the other day.
There you go. That's a classic right there. Well, good for you guys. All right, so you guys are now obviously become a unit. At what point, like, how does ESO come into fruition? Obviously, the Italy tells a lot in relation to the passion for the artisanal homemade pasta. But how does it get to the point where now here you are, 22, 23 years old, y'all, and when did you guys actually become, this item? Did you get married first? Was it you just together? And eventually once the business thing, like, what's the timeline on that to the point it was like, it's me and you, and we about to do this?
So everything for us, I always say this, everything went really fast. So
Wow.
We started dating November 6, 2019. Pandemic hit March 13th, 2020. We opened our first business, which was called Babushka's Pies, in April of 2020. And then we opened ESO in June of 2020. Ended up getting married in November, same date, November 6th of 2022. So it was
Okay,
always
got you.
back to back.
Because I've only known you guys together, so I didn't, I didn't know. Wow, boy, y'all, 2020 was a year, huh?
Huge. I mean, really, every year since 2020 has been a year. Yeah.
All right, let's get into the all right, you got to give me some insight, because you're talking about you clearly, and I don't want to, I'm big on not jacking people's names up, but it's how do you say your last name?
Sankofa.
Sankofa. So, but you're from Ukraine. how has that been an advantage, right? Like, America is this nation of dreams. You clearly have what is the family background in relation to the nationality?
So the name just came from my father and mother decided to name me that, but not necessarily our background. My father's side of the family is down from North Carolina, my mother's side from New York.
Oh, really?
They're very interested in the African heritage and whatnot, so that's where it came from.
That is freaking crazy. I was over there thinking he's Nigerian or something like that. That's fantastic. So they was just into their roots and they wanted to connect deeper,
Very much so.
even more so. Okay, so you're just a Negro like me.
Yes, sir.
I tell people it's becoming a little bit more rare, like where I'm just a regular old African American dude. I'm like, yeah, I have an identity, but I'm like, yeah, man, English first language. Don't have another nationality to kind of draw back on. I'm not Haitian. So what has it been like, being able to kind of merge with your wife, join, and the good thing is you got parents with some amazing work ethic and pedigree, which is not always the
Both
case.
sides too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that.
That's amazing. Like, it's not always the case, especially with African Americans, especially somebody even within your within your generation, right? Like, y'all get beat down a little bit, Right. So, and deservedly so. I'm raising kids. My oldest son is 22. I'm like, bro, if you don't get with it,
Yeah.
So it's different dynamics going on everywhere. But how is that coming together? This in this turbulent time of the human experience, but being together. What did you find were the similarities as well as the differences that was to your benefit to kind of continue to endure this union, this relationship, and bringing a business product to fruition?
Well, I would say one big thing that I wanted to point out is Kristina's family, her mother and father, are also entrepreneurs.
Wow.
And they are entrepreneurs in the food business. If you want to expand a little more
please.
on the bakery and the...
Sure. So my dad owned the first big production bakery in my town, which my town, like, I'll give you a little bit idea. If this is Kyiv, my town is 2 hours drive from Kyiv. So
Okay.
we're like
2 hours.
Center of Ukraine, basically.
Wow.
Later on, my mom opened frozen production facility.
Similar to what we do.
Yeah,
with the pasta
kinda.
and sauce.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah, and then later on we had a restaurant, and so like I was always around food, and like it's in my blood, basically.
Got it.
So yeah, and I guess entrepreneur part also in my blood, because seeing my parents always being in a business,
Sure.
I kind of like understood that it's probably my future too. So I kind of knew it.
Man, y'all look cool. This is like the exact opposite for me and my wife and Tyree, where we are with Tyree. We don't know nothing about no food other than feeding kids. We feed 7 children daily. There's a lot of, the soft skills. There's a lot of learn. And talk about what it was like. What were the things that you found yourself, you guys, I can imagine, make some assumptions, but what were the things that you had to learn the most in that first year? And mind you, I'm taking, there's a curve because that COVID monster was just, who could be prepared? Who could know what works? It was hard to assess a business in the middle of a pandemic. But what were the things where you found yourself deficient, and how have you found ways to navigate through these years as you guys have builded your business and your brand?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that we had going for us is that we knew how to cook. I mean, we really knew how to cook. We knew how to make good food. Our product was good, and so we didn't have to worry about, we weren't nervous when we were making sales. That part was easy. I think the biggest thing that we were lacking was the actual business experience. Neither of us had ever run a business before. Neither of us had ever, our trajectory working in a restaurant group was, my next step was sous chef, then chef de cuisine, then, run one of the restaurants in the group.
Sure.
Kristina following closely behind. When you're in those positions, you don't necessarily see the back end. You're not running the numbers, right? You're not doing the marketing. You're not reaching out, trying to form new partnerships and expand. So that was a huge learning curve for me. And I would say definitely, like, when it came to the numbers, handling the bookkeeping, handling the accounting, sales tax. I always tell people we didn't pay sales tax the first year that we were. We didn't even know what
Monster
that was.
cost sales tax.
I was like, man, the state of New Jersey is just giving me extra money. I'll take it. I mean, we had no idea, right? So we really had to learn how to run a business.
Sure.
That was, I always say, once you realize you have to do it and you start doing it, you realize it was never that hard after all. It's just intimidating when you got to open that door for the first time.
Excellent. I tell people new is always difficult, right? But if we're going to grow, we're going to do new things. So, entrepreneurship, I found personally, has really unlocked the doors to, tons of perceived impossibilities and barriers being broken down. But it's terrifying because it's unfamiliar, right? I mean, like it's not terrifying because I'm incapable. It's just I'm inept. I'm not good at it yet, right? And there's the exploration process that you guys have clearly been forged by the fire of entrepreneurship. All right, everybody, this is David Tyree, your favorite Super Bowl champion. I want you to know something, public service announcement. If you're looking for some energizing salads, some protein-rich, delicious sandwiches and wraps, and our one-of-a-kind Super Bowls, I need y'all to come through 68 South Street in Morristown, Tyree's Table. Come through, get this love, because there's room for everybody at the table. We want you to understand that this is the intersection of health, culinary creativity. We got it going on, y'all. But even more so, this is the place where communities come together. So see us at Tyree's Table. We'll get great done together. Was there ever a time where it negatively affected your relationship?
Oh yeah.
Come on, like give me a war story, because this is the things that people don't see, and I think obviously you guys you launched the business, you weren't married, but you ended up 2 years later and now you're married. Right. So the end product had to be good.
I think the biggest thing is the time. You asked me earlier if we had children. I told you we have one. That's our business.
Excellent.
And it's the kind of child where, the same way if you don't feed your kid, what's going to happen? If you're not feeding the business, what's going to happen? And that really, we had such a nice lifestyle when we were working for someone else, because it's like you punch in, you punch out, and now we just enjoy each other's time and company, and we do new things. And when you're on a business, you can't turn it off. Even when you try to enjoy your time spent alone, somehow you get back into, well, what about the inventory and what do we? And I think that, for me at least, that's the biggest thing, and it's something that I didn't realize.
Sure.
I would say the first 1 or 2 years, I didn't realize the impact fully. I think Kristina was more in tune with how it was affecting us.
Sure.
But I think 2022 into 2023, I really started to try to kind of shift the culture around how we handle our personal life, the business, and we're still working on it. And I think it's a never-ending battle, but trying to find a way to balance those things appropriately so that you don't end up at ends.
Yeah, well, it's challenging, and it is that and more. And like I said, we're further down the road. I'm 44 years old, so and be 20 years of marriage. So we like to believe that between myself and my wife, the experience, the love is solidified, but it still has that kind of impact. When it's turbulent, like it's a turbulent transition from employee to boss. It really is. And the best thing is I had my wife. The hardest thing was I wanted my wife. I didn't want a business partner. and that's the sacredness of a healthy union. And I wanted her as my business partner. It's just that I wanted my wife too. It's a weird mental thing, right?
Figuring out how and when to turn those switches off it takes a lot of fine tuning.
Well done. And no one's an expert if you're going to endure those transitions. But the secret sauce of a marriage is a no way out clause. I tell people all the time, like if you create that mindset, and it's just like anything else in life that you're committed to. Like it's like you're an athlete and you are committed to the process of. Well, the only way that you can fail is to quit. That's like the only way a marriage can fail is you quit. But if you're committed to it, then you actually find the ways to become better at whatever your role is, right? That's game right there. Secret sauce 101 right there. I don't have the. Yeah, I don't have the. I gotta say it's the. I got AJ. How I say your last name?
Sankofa.
Sankofa.
sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this right. Sankofa. You gotta respect people's names. But who were some of the people, right? No, when you talk about doing something significant and bringing a business, and you guys are still in it, right? ESO Artisanal is still in the race. I've watched you guys talk about the different stages of this business and how it's evolving, and just what you had to do to not just survive, but eventually, but also thrive, because there have been some sweet seasons that you guys have walked through, even through some of this transition in the midst of COVID. How you saw it from the start to where it is today.
Yeah, I think the big things were like starting out, you have so much new energy, so much new inspiration, and so much new passion. It's like you're getting like injected with that every morning. You wake up and it's like, oh, I got, all these ideas, and it's fresh, right?
Yeah.
And when you're in that period of time, it's easy to, stay up, 18, 20, 24 hours if you need to. It's easy to do a social media post every day. It's easy to just be in it. And I think, as I was saying before, once you start getting into that 1 year, 2 year mark, right, and you start to see the numbers fluctuate, and you start to see the ebbs and flows, and that you kind of, you're gonna lose some of that, and you got to replace that with discipline. Right?
Come
you
on,
gotta replace that with consistency. You got to replace that with, like you said before, the commitment.
Sure.
And I think that's where you start to figure out what works and what doesn't, and that's been really big for us. Like specifically with our business. Started in the middle of COVID, right? So all the restaurants were closed.
Sure.
If you wanted good pasta, you had to come to us. We hooked you up with the pasta. We had the sauce. We had the desserts. We had the cheese. Anything you wanted for an Italian meal. Once everything reopened, well, am I going to go buy it and cook it myself, or am I going to just go right into one of the restaurants in town and just, gratification, I call it.
Sure.
And everything nowadays is about having an instant gratification product.
Come on, brother.
We had to pivot, right? We had to innovate, and that's where the nationwide shipping came from, especially leveraging our experience on Food Network, Great Food Truck Race.
Nice.
It's the top viewed TV show on Food Network by millions.
Wow.
So once we came from that, now we're doing orders to California, Arizona, Canada even. So that was a big one. And then the final boss, I think, was the private chef services.
Nice.
Because once we realized, okay, retail's not sustainable.
Sure.
What do we fall back on? What we were already doing before.
I can cook. I can put this meal down. Y'all can put this meal down. I gotta see if we can afford.
We work something out.
This is fantastic. No, but it's beautiful to watch that. Now, digital e-commerce shipping is a totally different reality, right? So, what was like? We talk about the learning curve. What do you find to be the most difficult? Like from retail to shipping, and like. Those are two almost totally different businesses altogether. So like, was it a steep learning curve? Did you have somebody coach you? What were when you talk about these pivots, there's either time, like how do you mitigate the not just the risk, but the time of the efficiency measure, right? Like what was that like for you guys?
With the shipping specifically, well, first of all, any pivot that we've done, it's all been organic. It's all been the two of us figuring it out step by step. Ooh. Not to say that we don't pick up the phone and call our mentors when we need help, but when it comes to like paying for consultations or things like that, we never did that.
Yeah.
The shipping, we had the food truck race in our back pocket.
Okay.
We're on a TV show that's being viewed by families all over the country. All we had to do was turn it on. People order. I think the first day we turned the shipping on, we had 36 orders within like 6 hours.
Let's go.
So we were in a position, it was leverage. Right?
Sure.
That wouldn't have happened if we didn't have that TV experience. So
Excellent.
I can't accredit that to anything we did specifically.
Sure.
We bought the boxes, right? We bought the insulated, the ice packs. We bought everything we need. We put what we were already making in a box, and we sent it out.
Fantastic.
Now, when it came to the private chef services, that was really just reverting back to what we already did.
Sure.
And then just simply figuring out how to bring that to someone's home versus having them come to us at a restaurant, right? So
excellent.
We already had a van. We ended up getting a truck shortly after, so we had 2 vehicles, and then figuring out how to put a team around it.
Nice.
A guy for the front of house, someone to wash the dishes. How do we bring all of our equipment to you? How do we set it up? Little things that we figured out just by doing it over and over again.
You do, and then you shall know, And I think we, like being in business, you learn that there's two ways. Of course, the more capital you have, the more mistakes you can make. The less mistakes that you can make, but you still learn, and you you grow to understand what the needs are in the ebbs and flows. You mentioned mentors, right? Like, like nothing great happens typically by ourselves. So you guys have one another. Who are some of the people that played a pivotal role in both of your journey, your development, and some of the acumen up to this point?
Well, I guess every decision we ever made, like doing shipping and then, private dinners, it always required like a lot of conversation and talking and planning. Like we would have one idea, then we would be like, okay, what happened if this happened? And then it's going to be another idea. And then from that idea, we're going to create like completely different idea. And then from that, we kind of try to test it out. And then, that's the final product. So like, there's definitely a lot of work. I want to say one of the biggest mentors that we had in our business is Chef Kevin Simple.
Okay, cool. Never heard of him.
So Chef Kevin was the original executive chef of Jackie Hollow Bar and Kitchen in Morristown.
Super cool.
And he really took me under his wing during the time that I spent there. Actually, I worked with him here in Morristown, then I actually worked with him in Buffalo as well.
New York?
Yeah, Buffalo, New York. I moved up there. Actually, the same year before I went to the restaurant she was working at, I was up in Buffalo, came back to New York City, and then I went to Italy for the second time.
Man, my dog was in Italy.
But Chef Kevin, so he was my inspiration for going to Italy originally the first time. So he had went to Italy, France, and London to do his training. And when I was 17 years old, I was going to Fairleigh Dickinson University. I was majoring in marketing. I was like 8 weeks into the semester, and I said, hey, I like being at the restaurant a lot more than I like going to school. So I just stopped showing up. And during that period, this was fall of 2015. So during that period, I'm thinking to myself, well, I got to figure out how to do what Kevin did. Because he, look at where he is now, right? I'm looking at this mountain of a man, and I'm just trying to follow those footsteps. And I knew that he had went to Italy, and we were doing a lot of Italian-driven food there. So I said to myself, I'm going to find a school in Italy. Man. Did some research, found something, went into work the next day, lunch service. I went up to him and I said, hey, chef, pulled out my phone. I found this school. What do you think about it? Takes the phone. He takes a look at it. He looks at me, goes into his wallet, and he pulls out his graduation photo from that same school.
Oh, there we go, baby.
And it was set from there. 6 months later, I went to Italy. I went to the Italian Culinary Institute for Foreigners, got my master's there, and then I ended up doing an internship for a Michelin-star restaurant, Ristorante La Rosa, that's in Torino. And 3 years later, that chef hired me back to work full-time, so that's why I went the second time.
Wow.
And from then, 2014 till now, we still talk every week. I call him anytime anything's happening. I call. He's the first person I call, and I'm like, what do you think about this? How could I do that? What would you do in this situation? He's the big one.
That's huge.
For the food side of it.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, no, I love the story because it really speaks to the power of imitation. You saw somebody do something, and you said, okay, I need to do what this guy does. Yeah. And I tell people, like, my talking point is always, when it comes to you either going to be with people that you're like or you aspire to be like, right? So, everyone needs, whether it's a pace setter, mentor, teacher, et cetera, that sets the pace for them and has gone to places that they aspire to be. And I think that's really what causes people to, reach their optimum level. And you guys are well on your way. Super cool. At this, in light of all these amazing ebbs and flows, what would you say has been your defining moment? Because this is just the beginning for you guys, but there has been some real cool successes. Obviously going on the show, getting the chance to reap the rewards of just these transitions and seeing the fruit of stability and still being in the race. But what would you say so far has been your defining moment for ESO?
I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think signing the lease on the new location that we're going to be opening up.
Let's go. Talk to me about it. So that speaks to something that happened and something that's on the way.
Right.
What's coming up next for ESO?
So, I'll let. Because I'm bad with keeping things a secret. That it slips out.
I'm the same way, bro. My wife always.
Yep. So
don't be hushing me. Don't be hushing me. I'm the man around here.
Well, we are here. I mean, we've been wanted to get to this moment, all these 4 years, us working hard, working nights, putting business first, and we finally get to the point where we're like, okay, this is the moment, because we close our location in Morristown December 30th, and we announced that we will be moving to a new location, which we keep in a secret.
Okay. I'm cool with the secret. We'll keep this. We'll make another announcement after they make the announcement.
Yes. And this is gonna be different concept. So we actually gonna be cooking the pasta. Wow. So I feel like the only thing that our business was missing, like AJ was saying, is, what was the word?
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification.
What that basically means to us is that so many people came into our storefront wanting to buy something, realized they would have to cook it themselves, and walked out.
Yeah. Like
you gotta have something that they can enjoy, whether it's an article of clothing, whether it's a clean, you know, whatever it is.
Sure.
And I dropped the ball. I was supposed
no,
to say,
you good. Tyree's table at the table. Listen, we catch it up. We catch it all the time.
This is the first time I'm looking at the camera. Make sure y'all edit that out.
No, we good.
But, whatever it is, it needs to be something that they can grab and connect with immediately. And that's what we were missing. And so now we have that opportunity. So,
nah, that's super exciting, man. I mean, your journey, your trajectory, even more, like I said, you have a story, right? And actually, I think, listening to how you guys came together, the authenticity of your relationship, becoming business owners, the timing has really come together well. You've actually, the last 2 to 3 years has been the story that's really gonna be the launch pad to true sustainability, success, and stability for ESO, man. So, congratulations on paying the price. The pedigree is well in there, from the Ukraine to Dirty Jers. Ain't nothing dirty about ESO. Ain't nothing dirty. Everything's gonna be fruitful and flourish. The thing I would like to last question I would like to say is, like, what are people expecting when they through the experience, because since there's been different variations up to this stage, talk to the people just so that they're clear about what ESO Artisanal and then the homemade element of your product, your brand, and how you guys are coming together as one to present a unique premium experience. So
present day, now that the storefront is gone, so the retail aspect is gone, the primary thing that we're focusing on are our private event services.
Excellent.
Right. So, and what that entails is us coming to people's homes and cooking for them. And that can be anything from a tasting menu to past hors d'oeuvres, drop-off catering, you name it. And we do that for residential and commercial. So if there are businesses that want catering, we do that. We've done several law firms. We've done Deloitte, so on and so forth. And that's the biggest part of, honestly, the past 2 years, that's been the biggest part of our business. And now it's the only thing left before we launch the restaurant.
Excellent.
And I mean, the big thing that I always try to get people to understand is that, we come to your home and we cook for you. It's not just for you, it's for us too, because we love to do it.
Oh, wow. Come on.
To educate on the food. We love to see people try new flavors, new ingredients they never had before. We love to see a family come together or a couple enjoy Valentine's Day, whatever it may be.
Sure.
We get our high from that too.
Excellent.
So it's really just we're taking it from the inside and just pouring it out.
That love is on the table, okay? Sure. Man, well, I'm just super thrilled. I'm excited for again what's to come. I'm excited for the authenticity, because what you really gather is not just the sacrifice that really will, the commitment, the sacrifice, that's always going to bring, but it's the authenticity of the union, the skill set. You now paid the price. I think there's a maturity date that is exciting about your journey in your business that everyone who partakes of it is going to really benefit from. So man, thank y'all so much for just sharing that. I mean, like, there's everything in this journey, right? There's the newness, there's the commitment, the sacrifice, there's the endurance aspect. Yeah. There's the pivots, as you talked about, the multiple pivots. And that's really what it takes to deliver us to our next moment. It's the process that refines who you're becoming. Anything, like I said, anything imparting that you certainly want people to know? I know we got some exciting news to but even for you guys, I want to ask you this before y'all roll. What was the hardest part of this journey for you guys? I mean, like, was there ever a point where you like, man, I'm done? So what was that moment, and what did that internal dialogue sound like or look like, and how'd you get through it?
I know for myself personally, I've had a lot of those moments, especially, with, the pasta is really my thing, right? I went to Italy twice as the primary skill set that I have in the kitchen. So the business came from, it's like a brainchild thing, right?
Sure.
And so that weight of it has been on my shoulders. And I think, sometimes when things aren't going exactly as you planned or how you saw it or what you thought was really going to be a breakthrough moment isn't, that pressure, it's heavier than it really is. So I've had a lot of moments where I'm, man, maybe we should do something else. Maybe we should go back to work. Maybe we should. And, I have to be honest with you. The biggest thing that gets me through those moments is the customers. I mean, when I could be this close to giving up, and then we do a dinner, and you interact with the guests, you see them enjoy the food, and it's just I'm back to 150%.
That's fantastic.
It's really the people. You get to connect with people. Everybody got to eat.
Everybody, right? Come on, bro.
Come on. If you can give them a experience that's more than just eating,
sure.
I mean, that for me, that's all the inspiration I need.
No, that's so well said. I mean, I'm gonna leave that where it lies, because it's really, that's the people. The connection is not just the product; it's the people, right? The end user, and when you could connect heart to heart, it's life giving. You guys are walking it out. ESO's up for big things, and I hope everybody here can catch the true heart of this beautiful union, this beautiful product and brand that we're all going to benefit from. So listen, I want to thank you all for being guests here on Catch the Moment. Absolutely. I want to encourage everybody to check out ESO Artisanal and continue to get great done. We'll talk to y'all soon.